Hello Bishes, welcome back to my channel. It's been a super hot minute since we have last spoken with each other, and as you can see from my background, or probably my most recent video, I have a different type of wall that is slightly more sophisticated than my previous walls of any of my other videos, and there's still some random fucking construction shit because nothing in life is perfect, and that's okay. Other than that, there are a lot of changes happening around here. And by around here, I mean in here, my heart and my life. If any of you have been following me on Instagram, you might have known or not known or just not even cared, who cares, that I've not been really posting anything lately. And I did make a post talking about why, because honestly, TLDR, my life is getting progressively busier and busier by the minute. And it's in a way a good thing, and in a way it's also conflicting because there are sacrifices that have to be made. And throughout the past 2-ish months so far, I've decided to just not post any comics on Instagram, and that's something that I've really been doing for the past 2-ish years, and I feel like that's something that's been a really big part of my life, especially just growing my voice and telling my personal short stories online. And then all of a sudden to not do that is kind of weird, but also kind of therapeutic because I've been able to spend time just with myself and doing my own thing. But I've actually still been drawing comics anyway on the side because I'm eventually going to be updating my whole Instagram feed. So I realized that the way I've been making comics at first was really efficient for me because all I had to do was just draw simple drawings, sketch it out on my iPad, color it, and post it. However, I realize as time has been going on, I've become more of a perfectionist with the style and the art and the story choices that I was making. And, you know, just being that perfectionist side of myself really consumes a lot of time, and I found myself treating every comic like a finished, completed, line-arted drawing. And it wasn't so much of a sketch or a rough sketch, and I really feel like I needed to go back to that rough sketch phase of my life. So that's why I started doing traditional little comics again. And just a little hint, I have been posting these comics on my Patreon, so if you are interested in actually getting a head start in reading the comics that I'm about to be posting on my Instagram, I've already uploaded about like 8 or more of them on my Patreon, so check it out and feel free to support me if you want to or are able to. There's no pressure at all. It's just there for anyone who's interested in, and I only have a $1 tier because the only thing I can really guarantee at this time is just early access uploads. But before I continue with today's video, I'd like to thank no other than Skillshare for being today's sponsor. So if you're also in need of some creative invigoration, Skillshare's got thousands of inspiring classes for creative people like you and me. I'll talk about them some more later at the end of this video, so stick around if you're interested in seeing something that helped me get out of my own rut. So yeah, literally what I've been doing is just cutting printer paper into small little pieces, and then I use my handy dandy Muji pen and just draw out whatever is happening in the comic. If I make mistakes, it's kind of like, well, deal with it, bitch. You can't go back and do anything about it. Doing this is so much faster than doing my Instagram comics because I have to accept my imperfections no matter what, especially if I have to move on with doing the drawing, because let's be real, at the end of the day, when people look at your comics on Instagram, they're just gonna spend like 1 to 2 seconds per panel, move on, have a laugh, have a cry, have a whatever feeling, and that's it. So I'm not gonna overly sacrifice my time perfecting every anatomical aspect or line art or coloring. So doing things like this on a simple piece of paper that is flimsy and cheap with a cheap Muji pen kind of alleviates the pressure and just allows me to just get the damn job done. So after I draw everything and color it in with my Utrecht colored pencils, I then scan it into my computer, and then I bring it to my iPad where I kind of adjust the color and add the contrast. And even though this sounds less streamlined, like it sounds less straightforward, I can still promise you that this takes me so much faster than spending 3-ish hours on, you know, an iPad drawing. So this is what I pretty much do for my comics now. I scan it in and then I kind of erase the parts that happen during the scanning process, which, you know, marks and stuff that were not meant to be there. And then even some of the speech bubbles, I'll like drag it and readjust it to just make the overall piece look a little bit more appealing. Then if there are any parts about the drawing that I was not initially happy about when I was drawing it on paper, I'll just quickly fix it through Procreate, because doing it this way is so much faster than spending so much time just restarting the drawing just because you weren't happy with it, or using whiteout and then, you know, the texture of the whiteout kind of interferes with the rest of the coloring. So okay, so this is pretty much an example of what a panel for one of my new comics would look like, and before it looked like this. This is kind of when I initially scanned it in, but I like to take things up to the next level, so that's why I do things like this. So this is kind of my new method for making comics, in which I have not even shared on my Instagram yet, but again, this is so much faster than how I've been doing comics before. Wow, a new angle, how exciting. Well, here's a little sneak peek of my current bedroom in its current state. I've been really trying to incorporate meditating into my 2021 goals. It's something I've kind of always dibble-dabbled in. Recently, my life has really been getting progressively busier. Even if I am not fully understanding of all the benefits of meditation yet, it's like, at least, bitch, you can take 10 minutes to yourself to just close your eyes and not think about anything. But I guess this is kind of a good segue to mention why I've been so busy lately. And other than the fact that you all know by now that I have a full-time job and I'm working on my graphic novel and I'm doing these YouTube videos, well, another thing is that this bitch recently got promoted to becoming an assistant episodic director. Woohoo! Okay. But yeah, so currently at Tonko House, I recently got promoted to becoming a assistant episodic director, which means I'm pretty much getting the experience to help in directing a few episodes of the show that I am currently working on, which is such a huge stepping stone for, you know, everything that I've ever wanted growing up. I've always wanted to have some say in creating an animated show, film, whatsoever, and I feel like this is definitely a big step forward. Like, I'm still really processing that it even happened, and it's kind of like one of the scenes in Soul when the guy kind of walks out of the concert that he just, spoiler alert, don't watch the next like 15 seconds or so, but it's like when he walks out of the jazz concert that he just performed at and he's saying like, oh, I don't know why I don't feel any different. And the lady that he's always looked up to just says like, hey, you're just a fish that's already been in the ocean and you just never realized it, or something like that. Some of the differences though between directing and storyboarding is kind of like, when you're directing, you still have to storyboard, but you don't do it as much because of course you have more responsibilities with helping out the other board artists and editors and making sure everything stays in line. And being a storyboard artist, you're very focused on just honing down the sequences that you're drawing and whatnot. But I will say that being a director comes with its own set of challenges, of course, because you have to speak up a lot more in meetings and just really know how to state your opinion in a way that it's in line with the show. That is its own skill, because anyone can really say anything at the end of the day. Any opinion can be valid. You can just say like,
oh, I think that you should just change this whole story, make the character blue.
It's not like you're there to change the show into your own show as the director. So whenever you see shows or animated films where there's a creator but then they're directors, they're the ones that kind of help direct the other artists and the other editors to help create these episodes or scenes that stay in line with the creator's vision. So it's kind of different because when you see a movie or film that's directed by someone, that director is kind of like the creator, but when there's a creator and a director involved, the director is kind of there to help the creator. So yeah, I don't know, the entertainment industry is very nuanced in its own ways, so this is just kind of what has been happening based off of my own experiences, but nonetheless it has been a very great learning experience for me so far, and I'm really excited for just, I don't know, having a bigger role and responsibilities. So thank you to Tonka House for sponsoring my life.
Moon Pie's just like, what are responsibilities? I have no idea what a responsibility is. And Bonbon's like, my only responsibility? My only responsibility is to make sure that this mattress memorizes my body shape. Right?
Speaking of opinions though, I actually am gonna need y'all's help in helping me decide what prints that I should get for the new house. And if you guys have any that are kind of similar to these styles, or kind of even something the complete opposite, please share, because I've really been wanting to just buy prints from artists. So one of them is this person, Chew on Imprint. Like, they have a very graphic style. So there's this other artist named Mailelani. So kind of look at these where they're very like graphic, but have that child crayon type of texture. I don't know why, I really like it. Then here's another artist who kind of simplifies like a lot of Asian foods or foods in general into really basic shapes. And here's another artist that I've been thinking of getting prints from. Her name is Ali Wild, and she has these really fun, cartoony, silly prints that I think would really stand out. And then lastly, I don't know if you all know Little Thunder on Instagram. I think she's based in Hong Kong, which, you know, makes me feel warm inside because my family's from Hong Kong. And then lastly is this other artist called Pegacon Lee. And their style is definitely a little bit more risky, but I'm about that risky shit. If you have any other artist recommendations in terms of prints or just art that you think is really nice to have hung on a wall, please share in the comments below. Anyway, I gotta go get my sweet potatoes ready. Okay, so in my previous video, kind of about healthy habits that artists should try, I was so happy when I heard about people who could relate to me when they just saw pretty foods in like animation or anime or just drawings of pretty food in general, and especially if it's a healthy food. It's gonna definitely motivate me to eat it more. So here is the classic sweet potato with furikake on it. Like, I always love getting Japanese sweet potatoes. And then I have some balsamic chicken, spinach, and gotta top that shit with an egg. Like, an egg just makes everything look nice. And to digest all of this shit, I got some matcha tea. So, and because I think this layout is pretty cute, I'm just gonna spend a second more on this shot. Goodbye. Anyway, before this day is over, we do have a final special message from today's sponsor. For most of us, Skillshare needs no introduction, but for those of you who don't know, Skillshare is an online learning community that offers thousands of online classes for anyone interested in learning a new skill or want to develop a new hobby. You can choose classes ranging from animation, creative writing, fine art, and illustration, and just so y'all know, there are no ads and new premium classes are always being launched, so you can be kept on your toes for new possible creative paths that you can take. You can do all of this for less than $10 a month with an annual subscription. So you all know that I've been on a bit of a hiatus on Instagram, and during the time I've been away, I myself have been taking classes on Skillshare, and one that has recently really inspired me is writing fiction, 4 exercises to discover and write your story by Gail Foreman. In the class, you learn things from writing an open letter to writing what-if scenarios to combining the scenarios with characters. And this has been super helpful for me brainstorming new short comic ideas, as well as the graphic novel that I've been working on. And even if you're too busy to take this class, you can still just leave it on when you're working, as these things are always good to keep in mind for any of you interested in creating stories with your art. And the first 1,000 of my subscribers to click the link in the description box below will get a free trial of premium membership on Skillshare, so you can start exploring your creativity today. Anyway, thank you for watching this video, and I will see you all in the next one. So peace out and stay wholesome, bitches.